Everything you need to maximize your crypto journey is here at PDAX Prime. With PDAX Prime, you'll have direct access to the crypto market, allowing you to trade over 50 tokens, including exclusive OTC coins, faster and at competitive rates. PDAX Prime also has a dedicated team of experts who are passionate about crypto and other solutions to help you make the most out of your crypto journey. Plus, as a PDAX Prime client, you'll have early access to our wide array of crypto learning sessions so you can stay ahead of the curve. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Join PDAX Prime today. Bringing the future of finance closer to every Filipino. This is PDAX. Welcome to Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, where you can trade your crypto for as low as 200 pesos on the web exchange or through our mobile app for more convenience. Register and create your PDAX account with us today.
All right, Jed, how are you? Jed, medyo naging
Hello?
choppy ka dyan, bro. Yan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you, Pat?
I'm very good. Welcome everyone to another show of Fresh Money where you guys can listen and hear about all the latest on Web3, NFTs, metaverse, and of course cryptocurrencies. Jed, okay, I think Jed just went through some technical issues. So everyone, welcome. Shout out so habang inaantay natin si Jed, shout out to our bro, you're back. Shout out to the people at YGG Studios. I think everyone here, the people at YGG, sila Fee, Bryle, and James were kind enough no to also post or restream our this episode for Fresh Money. Also, shout out to our very good friend Lance from A Labs. Hey Lance, one of our most loyal listeners there. Thanks, man, for always tuning in. Jed, let's get to the main topic of the show or the main guest, no? So, sobrang interesting to me, um, our new guest. Jed, maybe you can talk a little bit about sino yung kakausapin natin today.
Sure. Our guest is a very interesting person. He initially worked in the academe and has been lately working in the Yellow Boat of Hope Foundation. So they're an organization that aims to make education more accessible to the students in the Visayas region by building boats in order to travel the dangerous bodies of water or building schools in order to make it closer to their homes for all the education purposes. And he used PDAX to receive donation from a Web3 protocol called Angel Protocol. It's a protocol in the Terra ecosystem that allows organizations to receive crypto as donations.
Wow.
So
Okay. So,
yes,
okay. Go ahead, Jed. Go ahead.
our guest speaker today is very passionate about crypto, and I'm sure everyone listening will enjoy his wonderful and very insightful opinions on this matter. So let's all welcome Jay Haboneta.
Hey, Jay. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, Pat and Jed. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening to everyone who's joining us today. And again, thank you for having me, PDAX team, Pat and Jed, and the
You're
rest of the team.
welcome, Jay.
It's a
We are
pleasure.
very glad to have you. Sobrang curious to know your story. I've been a big fan personally. Actually, Jed, I think also. Big fan kami
Yes.
of your Twitter account in particular. All the way back no sa I would say Cosmos and Terra days. So pag-usapan natin 'yon. I want to know more about your story, how you came into crypto. And ano yung pinag-aabalahan mo ngayon? Especially itong sinasabi ni Jed, yellow boat, right? So, just wanted to dive into it. Can you tell us more, Jay, about yourself and paano ka nakapasok sa crypto?
Yes, thank you, Pat. I think I probably went through, a similar journey for a lot of Pinoy. So I used to be in sales and marketing a long time ago, and then I ended up in the education sector. So as Jed mentioned, no, I co-founded in 2010 the Yellow Boat of Hope Foundation. So I found out that there are kids who have to, swim to school. Kailangan maglangoy para makapasok ng eskwela, and so I was surprised. And actually, at that time, we used Facebook heavily, no, to raise funds to help these kids. And we decided we actually created a Facebook group, and then we asked everyone to join there, and then a brainstorm kami. And we came up with a yellow school bus on water, which is the same as the school bus. It fetches the kids from their homes and brings them to school. And so in 2010, I co-founded that with Doc Anton, my co-founder, who is based in Zamboanga City. And see, in the last 12 years, we've expanded. We're now present in around 200 communities around the Philippines, and that sort of led me to the education path. So I also work with schools currently, LaSalle. No, I'm involved in the innovation and incubation programs for De La Salipa. I before was with Binild. And so, of course, this I mentioned kanina that the same journey as everyone else. We all know, no, when the pandemic happened, we were sort of, imprisoned in our house. And I'm really big on technology. I'm big on virtual reality, and also I was into studying into blockchain before. And I believe I bought my first Bitcoin, no, in 2015, and Ethereum as well, 2015, 2016. But it's sort of something that, it's just there in your wallet. You forgot about it. I wasn't really into that, what they call DeFi summer that happened in, I think, mid 2020. I wasn't
Yeah.
really there. But, around late 2020, that's when, sort of I found DeFi, I would say. And I started playing, with whatever, the different decentralized exchanges, swapping assets on Ethereum and other ecosystems as well. And later, I believe we'll discuss. Actually, I became big on Cosmos even before I encountered Terra, which I used to be really big on as well. So I guess, that's sort of like started my crypto journey. And I think the bigger concept here is really Web 3.0, wherein the keyword is that, users can own the internet. It's really Web 3.0 is really about that. It's about being able to monetize your content. Not just the platforms that you're using, but like, you as a user, you get a share of the revenues. Of course, that's a long way, no? I think we're malayo pa tayo doon sa models na ganun sa crypto, but at least that's the vision. And that's why I went into the rabbit hole. So, I'm into NFTs, I'm into the metaverse. Again, I used to be big, I was big, in VR before. So, I'm still very big on the metaverse. And the I think everyone who has watched Ready Player One and understood, where how it can actually help us. Again, I'm a big believer that technology is there as an enabler. We use social media platforms to raise awareness and raise funds to help these kids. And crypto, Web 3.0, and all these technologies is there to really help more people as well.
Ganda, Jay. Sobrang dami mong nasabi and Jed, if you don't mind me going first,
Go
no.
ahead.
Ang ganda ng angle ng doing good charity but then ko-combine mo sa blockchain, 'di ba? So, I want to know more about Yellow Boat, but before that lang, no, na-curious lang ako. You mentioned you came into DeFi Summer kasi ako pumasok din ako DeFi Summer. Pumasok ako siguro June or July ng 2020, I think. Tapos you mentioned pumasok ka ng medyo late. So ano,
Yeah,
ano yung
mentally.
pinasukan mo doon?
Actually, just trying out. No, I thought for the most part is you just buy it and then you just let it, increase in price. But then when I looked at DeFi, so mostly I think Uniswap. I tried
Okay.
using Compound, Aave.
Aave. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I think even MakerDAO for DAI. I mean
Yeah.
that's actually how I got interested with stablecoin. They say it's the most important project. A
Yes.
decentralized, stablecoin is the most important project in crypto. So mostly in Ethereum, but then of course, even that was late 2020 and early 2021. Of course, the cost in Ethereum was going high. So I started to like look at other options. I have this contrarian view, and I'm really, as I mentioned, I'm involved in innovation programs, and I looked at where MySpace and Friendster are, and how and Yahoo, of course, and even for the young that's watching today, you might not have heard of Netscape or of all those earlier internet browsers before Google Chrome and Safari and all. And I always know that there might be a better technology that comes along. So I've always been sort of cognizant of that, na yun nga, na pwedeng even the incumbents can be beaten by upstarts or by Davids versus Goliaths.
Yes, yes, yes. Sobrang inspiring. Although, I am a believer of Ethereum. Personally. But my views are not ano naman, are not important right now.
No,
So magandang segue.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't really, I'm not really that bearish on Ethereum. I just feel that it's important that any user, especially I work in the nonprofit world. I couldn't, there was a time, and I think even at this point, I couldn't sort of justify the amount of, one, sometimes the gas fee can, buy one boat, and like, even though I can afford it, I just really couldn't, sort
Yeah.
of, I couldn't click the button because my brain sort of is resisting the idea that the amount that I'm gonna pay for gas fee is equivalent to a boat, or to a meal that that we're putting out there as part of our work. I guess I'm coming from that perspective.
Yeah, understood totally. So ito magandang segue ito, no. So ang problem natin sa Ethereum and DeFi on Ethereum, mahal yung gas fees. And then siguro this what brought you to explore other layer 1 blockchains such as Cosmos SDK, and obviously yung medyo bad word sa atin ngayon, Terra Luna. Pwede pa ba nating sabihin 'yon? Yeah, so ano lang, pag-usapan natin for just for a little bit. How did you discover si Cosmos and Terra? And during those days, alam naman natin kung ano yung ending kay Terra, no? So, ano yung thoughts mo? Ano yung naging reason kung bakit bumagsak yung Terra?
So I'm really a wide reader. So yeah, I used to say, now it's hard to do because I read online, no. But I used to say that I read 100 books a year. And so when I started into DeFi in late 2020, I think in CoinGecko and CoinMarket there were only, I think, around 2,000 to 3,000 cryptocurrencies at the time. I think right now they're around 13 to 14,000. So I went through the websites of all those 2,000 to
Wow!
3,000. Yes,
Sipag.
crypto.
Wow.
And I sort of, I did I did a competitive analysis, and then I compared it. I compared, of course, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Polkadot. I think Polkadot, marketing wise, is more popular than Cosmos, but I settled on Cosmos because what it allows is, just, simply, I know we'll discuss it a bit further later. But it allows you to sort of launch your sovereign chain, and I really like the idea of, having, as an even as an application or as a project, of having control over my own chain. I really like that idea, and I felt that, the Polkadot model, for example, that you need to bid out and rent every time, specific block space. I didn't know if it could really gain enough traction from developers who might come from third world countries. I think for first world countries developers, it's easy, to build on Ethereum and other, other models wherein you need to sort of buy black space. But then, when I went into the Cosmos ecosystem, I found Terra. I think currently there are around 50 app chain sovereign chains on Cosmos. And Terra was special because, for me, the way I really look at technology, even when the social media space was new, is that, you would use it every day. I remember now, Facebook is really an integral part of our communications life. We use it to message friends and family, and at that time, in comparison to like Friendster and MySpace, it was really the easier. I think what Facebook did was add all the features of all these platforms, and what I think primarily what it allowed is you were able to connect, with your old friends, like in high school, college, or even grade school. And so it had real sort of real world utility. And the thing that I loved about Terra was it made it very simple for a newbie like me to understand what it was trying to do. So you had Anchor, which was the savings account, albeit with a 20% rate compared to your 1% in the in the traditional bank, or even less. So that attracted me, and then you had Mirror for investments. Of course, it had its own issues with the US SEC, but then it allowed you to sort of invest because it mirrored a US stock, and it allowed you to invest. Right now you need to do a lot of like legal requirements to be able to invest in a US stock, but that allowed you to, it was decentralized. And of course, lastly, what really sort of drew me into Terra was, of course, now I think a lot of reports are saying that there was a misrepresentation that happened. But when Terra was starting, what really sort of made me believe in it was Chai payments and MinPay
Yeah.
in Mongolia. So that was in Korea. So it was like a Visa and Mastercard. They were like the settlement layer when you can purchase coffee in a coffee shop. You pay through the Terra network. So I think at that time they were saying there were around 2 million users. That were it was like their Gcash or Paymaya in South Korea. So at the start, I think that was true that the Chai network was really using Terra, but I think they ran into to cut it simply, they ran into regulatory challenges. That's why they had to go back to like the legally allowed settlement or payment systems. But when it was starting like that, it really, and I think the team was silent that it was no longer being used by Chai, but it made me realize, because it's in seconds. You can settle payment transactions. You can settle anything within seconds. And even now, we use the credit card. It's also fast, but I think when you look at it from the transactions per second level, blockchain really allows you to do it faster from an institutional perspective. So again, that the 2 million you sort of users who were using it for real world purchases really sort of did it for me. So I think, yeah, that's really what attracted me to Terra, and I'm sure they will not be the last. There will be there's a project that will come along that will build on that experience, because again, blockchain really offers you that faster speed in terms of transaction time, and also the fees will really be substantially lower. When you use PayPal, when you use Visa and Mastercard, they still charge a substantial fee, especially on the merchant's side.
Correct.
Very fascinating, no, Jay. Even I was a believer in Terra because I felt like it had a really big vision, and I believed in the idea that a decentralized economy needs decentralized money. But unfortunately, with recent events, it crashed. So, what's your opinion on what caused the downfall of Terra?
I think it's two things. No, number one was I think for those who are active on Twitter, that Do was was full of hubris. He got cocky, and I really do think that sort of hubris attracted a lot of bad actors. So there, of course, there's debate now whether there was someone who intentionally crashed Terra Luna. I think the we still need to find out more whether there was really a concentrated attack. But I think I think because he was very overconfident, that attracted probably bad actors. And I think the design was really, I think the design of any decentralized stablecoin is really fragile at the infancy or that start, because basically even with the Philippine peso or the US dollar, what backs the US dollar? I think it's really the military, the military might of the US. So it's belief that they can enforce, the international regulations, or that they can comply with the international obligations. So the same with Terra, I think, or any decentralized sort of money experiment or project, it needs to start with trust. And so it was really fragile at the start. So if I was Do, I probably wouldn't have been very overconfident, and I would probably have been very the same with the show. No, not the things we share here are not financial advice, but I think there were many discussions by TFL, Terraform Labs, and Do that really seemed like financial advice. So I think a lot of people, it grew too fast, that it really couldn't absorb the volatility. Even Bitcoin, dropped in its early days, dropped for 90%, even 95%, because of course people didn't really trust the system yet. So I think I think that any model is really fragile at the start, so you need to build like a massive base before you could sort of defend it. easily from, not necessarily from attacks, because like I think on my last point here, di ba sinasabi nila na karamihan nung anchor deposits that actually depositors, the anchor depositors that actually caused the DPEG, had like, these are probably, I don't know, some of them might be state actors or big institutions, but I think $500 million or above. So obviously, when they exited the USD positions into another stable coin, that really caused the massive DPEG event, and it was basically like a bank run. So even in the real world, it happens. So I think it was really an issue of trust. So any team that hopes to sort of replicate what Terra was doing probably needs to be doxed, or you need to be able to know all the team members. It's probably very hard to have anonymous team building it, and then learning from that, they probably should go for organic growth, because again, if you grow too fast, a whale, even now, the market is really partly manipulated by whales. You could sort of, especially in this market where maybe a few amounts can move the market. It's really hard when the system is not in place.
Yeah.
um
Jay, ganda ng thoughts. In terms of sa Terra Luna UST stablecoin, you touched on a topic there, So, which is parang what they're trying to do is become fiat themselves, which is
yes.
sobrang hard, 'di ba? Kasi like
Mhm.
pag pinag-aralan mo yung history ng money natin, it's actually not backed by anything kasi 'di ba? Dati gold standard, 'di ba? But now wala na, 'di ba? So, ang ginagawa kasi ni Terra, at least in my mind, 'di ba maraming flavors ng stablecoin. So one is collateralized, or 1:1 pero centralized. So that's USDC, USDT. The other no, other one naman, back pa rin siya, collateralized pero decentralized. So DAI, that's where DAI comes in. And then now, walang backing at all. Algorithmic
Yes.
stablecoin. Yan ang talagang wild wild west ngayon, 'di ba? Which is UST. So parang by code, by 'di ba, arbitrage forces, nagbabalance siya 1:1. So sobrang hirap gawin, right? So and tama rin yung angle na baka nga there were some bad actors who wanted to attack Terra Luna. But anyway, let's veer away from the bad thoughts ngayon. um Siguro following that train of thought, no, Terra Luna, bumagsak tayo ngayon sa crypto bear market. Winter na ngayon, ang lamig. What is your, I guess, for all the listeners here, no? Before we go on to what else you're up to, ano yung siguro yung magandang advice to everyone listening? Ano na ba ang pwedeng gawin ngayon to all the crypto believers?
Yeah, actually, for me, if you believe in the future talaga, that it will be powered by blockchain, or Web 3.0, and even the metaverse. So for me personally, again, this is not financial advice. No, I'm DCAing, or they call it dollar cost averaging, or in our case, peso cost averaging, in projects I believe in. Maybe later I can discuss those projects, but I think now is really the time, to research. I think it's hard to do what I did when I was starting in DeFi, not to read through all the 2000 projects on Coin Market and CoinGecko books. They're now at 13, 14,000 and growing by the day. But I think, yeah, you would really need to. I work in the incubation programs as well. So you need to, the most important metric for success is really the team. So even I would say that even anonymous teams can succeed, but of course it's harder because you basically don't know a lot about them. You just basically know about their engagement on Twitter, or wherever they're communicating with the public, whether on Discord or Telegram. But I do think that if you are very big on certain projects, I don't think we've hit bottom, but we are probably near it. Based on all sort of the analysts that I follow on Twitter. But as a contrarian, so the it's very important, especially in crypto, to be a contrarian as well. I think based on what have happened, you are you are no or you could say this, the experts are no better than you. We've seen a is it a hedge fund with $10 billion in assets under management,
3AC ba
get
yan? 3 Arrows
yeah,
Capital?
3AC, 3
Yeah.
Parang
Capital,
at the
get
peak,
hit.
18 billion ata sila.
Yeah, I think
Grabe, no?
around 18.
Yeah, so it's and these are like billionaires. They have their yachts. They live on like the most exclusive subdivisions, and they with probably with leverage they even and they also ended up with close to nothing. So I think it's very important to have a contrarian viewer in. Maybe you're right. So again, don't. I know this keeps getting repeated. Don't sort of don't put in what you cannot afford to lose. Of course, if you're the kind of person who can make strategic bets, like for example, I remember who was it? Masayoshi-san of SoftBank, di ba? I think when during the dot-com bubble when it burst, I think he gave his last money to Jack Ma of Alibaba. And that $20 million is now worth, I think around, I think before they sold a big chunk, it was worth around $40 billion. So, if you can make those bets in crypto as well, 50x, 100x, even 1000x is possible. But again, I think to navigate this market is to be a contrarian. If the way I see this, I think I see this sometimes. When you see people posting about Lambos and Rolex, it's time to sell.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna
I think
time to
it's
leave.
very important to have that attitude. That and you don't know if some of the Twitter or some of the influencers you look up to are being paid. You never know that it happens in the background if they're being paid. So always take what they say with a grain of salt, including mine. Because again, I could be wrong. I think especially during this contagion, we've seen not only 3AC, we've seen Celsius having
Yeah.
issues. Even now Nexo and I think BlackFi are
Yeah.
there are rumors that they are facing issues. So again, I think when you're in a bull market, everybody FOMOs. There's a fear of missing out. But sometimes you need to be a contrarian so that you survive. I think the key word is to survive.
Right, right.
Nice.
And as you mentioned earlier, Donjay, this is the time to research. And would you mind sharing what's your research framework to our listeners so that they have an idea to know how to do their own research?
Yes, I think you can't. I think there are two things that I want to say here. You need to decide if you're. I think first off is first principles. You need to decide if you're a trader or an investor. I have friends who don't like the investing part because like I'm really a value investor. So even if the price really goes down, I look at it from like a 3 to 5 year horizon. But I have friends who can't do that. Like they want they want to do something. It's like games. You want to do it on a daily level, or a weekly level. So I think you need to decide if you're a trader and investor. If you're an investor, it's easier. You just DCA or peso cost average. Of course, you at least buy during a crypto winter or bear market when prices are really low. And then you sleep on it. You wait your time until the project really gains traction. And but if you're a trader, then I'm not really a good trader, I would say. So but you need to learn the charts, the technical analysis, because the ones that I've seen are really good. The ones that are really good at it know when to long and when to short the market. So and it goes into your personal psychology. But I think when it comes to research, because I'm really, as I mentioned, I'm an investor. My mindset is an investor. I would really start with, the easiest, which is going through, Coin Market or CoinGecko. I personally use CoinGecko more. Just look into the projects, look into the metrics that they're showing there, and then compare it. I think for a very simple sort of research, compare it with DeFi Llama. I think very few people know about DeFi Llama, which really tracks total value lock in each of the L1s or ecosystems. For me, DeFi really is a better measurement of how adoption is happening, because it's really people using the exchanges on chain, and like doing the NFTs, metaverse, the play to earn, and all the other activities. Because sometimes, though you see big volumes on the exchanges that you're using, or on coin market or coin gecko, they're not they're mostly speculation, I would say. They're the traders that trade day in, day out, or weekly. But to look at the fundamentals, I think it's good to look at DeFi Llama, and then if you really can go into, I think this requires more time. If you can go into their Discord communities and Telegram, for me, because, and even Twitter. But you have to again be a contrarian on this, because a lot of projects can buy. So you see huge projects with huge Twitter followings, or Discord communities, or Telegram communities, but you're not sure whether those were bought. Like the numbers were bought. I based on my research, you can buy certain Twitter accounts, and even Discord and Telegram groups. So I think it's very important, to and of course, after that, it would be best. So this is for me a no, a no. Um, you need to use the protocol or the project. Try using it if it's a decentralized exchange. Try swapping assets. If it's an NFT, try buying one, and then trading it. I think that's the only way to really know whether the team is really there for the long term, or if they're doing what they're saying, what they're doing. One of the things that I hated about Chai with Terra was that I wasn't in Korea, so I actually I had some doubts, because I asked some friends who were there if they heard of Chai, and they haven't heard of Chai. So I think Kakao Pay is the more the dominant player in the market. So again, it's very important to I think, based on that knowledge now, that a lot of my friends in Korea didn't really know about Chai, should have been sort of should have raised red flags. So again, just to summarize, choose, decide whether you're a trader or investor. Second is to really deep dive. So go into this CoinGecko or DeFi Llama, and then go into the social media communities and look at, and then use. I think that's really important. Try to use the protocol, before investing, or before putting your money there.
Jay, I really love what you're saying right now, kasi it really speaks to me like you're a real value investor. I think all of the things you promote for using the product itself, doing due diligence, echoes to me somewhat like yung mga teachings ni Warren Buffett, right? And Charlie Munger. Value investing meaning yung price kasi, what you pay for the stock, doesn't necessarily reflect the fundamental value. And in times of market distress, si Mr. Market can be very moody, and sometimes Mr. Market quotes you at a discount to the actual value. So which leads me to my question, no? So I love all your suggestions. So research, go into Discord, use the product, DCA, be a contrarian, and maybe don't even use leverage. But then let's go into yung pinakamahirap na, which medyo you a little bit touched on, no? How do you then value a an investment, or what are the signs that you use to figure out whether an investment is a bargain right now?
Yeah, that's really harder. So what I do is find find them on Twitter. There are really good quants. They call them, like crypto quants. So they do again, some of them are paid, so it's hard. I don't necessarily pay, no, but you could see them analyze, for example, especially the top 20 or top 25 coins. They do an analysis in terms of like the pricing based on like the number of users, based on the total value lock. So there are tools that you can use to get to that. But I think at this point, the crypto is still very, I would say 80 to 90. That's why the drop sometimes is 80 to 90%, because 80 to 90% is speculative premium. So that's my assumption always, that when especially during a bull market, or now maybe prices are more realistic, but again, that's a safe assumption that during a bull run, or when it starts, 80 to 90% is probably speculative premium, and they especially the big accounts would really be trading it only. I think in when DeFi summer ended, and sort of the bull run for most of the prices really started, you could close your eyes and then point a dart in any of the 2000 listed, and probably if you wait for 3 months, like from January to March, April 2021, before the cycle top, you'd probably 3x or 5x your investment. So again, in a bull run, I think it's very important to be a contrarian. That when it's being shielded so heavily, when you see a lot of Rolex again on being posted online, it's probably time to sell, because yeah, you're probably near the top. So sorry, I'm not sure if I answered you directly, but that's how I would, that's like an easy sort of simplification for me in terms of pricing, that assume 80 to 90% are trading it, especially on a bull market.
Okay, so the big question, based on your gut feel of the market, where are we right now? So you've been talking about being a contrarian. Is it really the bottom right now? Again, I will reiterate to all of our listeners, all of the information here presented is only for informational purposes only, and is not to be understood as financial advice. But yeah, Jay, maybe your opinion lang. Where are we now in this market?
Yeah, so one of the things with my mind is that I can hold two opposing ideas at the same time, and I could sort of both, I could make the case for both. So actually, based on because I follow like really the some of the oldest as well analysts on crypto, including Bitcoin maxis and Ethereum maxis. I think we're near the bottom, if not we've bottom already. There most of the bottoms were of course, again, we have very limited history with Bitcoin, but most of its bottoms in its history is when it went below the 200 MA, moving average for its price. And it has already done that, when it went to 17,000 last week or 2 weeks ago. So I would say that we might either again, it's very hard because it it could mean anything is possible, but I think we might have hit the bottom or near the bottom. But the opposing idea here, the contrarian here, is which there are still a few analysts that are of this opinion, that we're still in a super cycle, that this is a temporary blip in a super cycle, which might, in my own view, which could be true, again, not financial advice, because of the COVID March 2020 bottom. Remember when when the pandemic and the lockdown started, Bitcoin went below its 200 moving average price as well in March 2020, along with the stock market, and then they rebounded. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that had an impact. It sort of accelerated, a mini bull run. I because when you look at it, I think the project with the most number of users is probably Axie. at its height with, they say, around what, 1 million. I think at its height
I
there
think
was,
umabot, we went to 3 million, I think.
yeah, 3 million. And then
Yeah.
I think you situate it, they say there are around 300 million users of like, wallets with Bitcoin, which is really still less than, I think we're in terms of the innovation curve, we're still at the, at the crazy, at the crazy 1% or 2%. So I'm not sure. I think that's the contrarian view. I think if the view is that we ended the bull run, we're near the bottom, we're near the bottom, or we have bottom, but the contrarian view is that we're actually in a super cycle, and the real top, the real cycle top is about to happen. So again, I think it's very important to know yourself, so I'm prepared for both scenarios. Of course that's not easy for everyone, but that's how I operate, on, because I love to analyze these things. So again, those are things I could be wrong, again, as I mentioned earlier, but those are two possibilities that I see based on, the people I follow on Twitter who have, a good batting average. So one of the things I want to, I think we still have time. One of the things, so I was able to de-risk some of my Luna exposure in, I think, April, because I couldn't sleep from, I don't know if you saw this. There were two Twitter accounts with huge followings, GCR and All God Trading. They made
Yes.
$1 million bets against Do,
Yes.
in March. And so the contrarian in me couldn't sleep, that, why would these two big accounts, and when I check on GCR, again, research, when I check on GCR, he has a 100%, we don't know who they are, they're anonymous accounts. He has a 100% batting average in his calls, in his, like, in
Yes.
his
And
predictions.
And
And
if you
so,
see GCR, he's a very well-known trader in the FTX leaderboards. So lagi
yes,
siyang top trader, 'di ba? So I actually was reading his tweets then during that time of Luna, and there was one other account, Galois Capital. I don't know if you follow him, Jay, no?
yes,
Um
yes.
Ganda, sobrang like deep thinker, and he was one of the first people who also raised the warning signs, no? Si Galois Capital, Algo D, and si GCR. Anyway, go ahead. You were saying.
No, no, that's it. I really felt na yun, again, it was just to show an example na you have to be a contrarian, no? They also say don't marry your bugs. I think it's
Correct.
very important in crypto. Again, because we're really in the early stages of this space. It's, I'm not sure if this was the bubble that burst. Maybe you can compare it to the dot-com bubble in 1999, when Amazon was the only clear, survivor, among all those projects that were, building or launching there. But I'm not sure we're at that stage. I think we're still earlier than that. So it's not even 1999 for the internet. I think now it just feels like there's so much adoption because it's out in the public. It's open. You can talk about it on social media. When, obviously, when the internet was being built, that wasn't there yet. So,
Yes.
yeah, I think part of, like, for me, one of my biggest mistakes, especially in this last 18 months, was like really belief that adoption was there, when in fact, as of today, it doesn't really seem to be the case that, people are really using it on a daily level, and like millions and millions. Probably, like, people were experimenting, and then I think the majority have now exited this space.
Right, right. Yeah, I share the same thoughts, no, Jay. I think adoption is just getting started. It's this cycle wherein we saw crypto have a more appropriate product market fit. So, Jay, going back to your statement earlier, wherein you mentioned that Cosmos was one of the first ecosystems that you've discovered. Can you tell us more about that one?
So again, medyo may kodigo ako, no. I fell in love actually with Cosmos because I really believe na parang blockchains are like cities, no, or nation states. Na parang, 'di ba? If you have this kind of project, and that's that's why it's a bit hard for me to wrap my head around Ethereum, Polkadot, and the others, because you sort of, even though it's permissionless, you do need to, as a project, you do need to adapt to, like, the existing features of Ethereum and others. But with Cosmos, it's not really, the most common misunderstanding about Cosmos is that it is a layer one chain with Atom as the gas token, but rather it's not. It's a collection of interconnected layer ones, one of which is the Cosmos hub, which uses Atom. So actually, yung Atom na token is really, for now, it's really mainly used for the Cosmos hub, which is different to Cosmos SDK, which is, the platform that you build the blockchain on, and different from Cosmos, which is, sort of the entire ecosystem of these layer ones. A good analogy that I found online is that yung each layer one, Cosmos layer one, is its own planet, and all these planets reside within the cosmos. And so for me, I really like that, and especially the next feature that I'd like to discuss, especially with all these hacks about bridges. I think even Vitalik Buterin of Ethereum mentioned that he doesn't really believe in cross-chain bridges. If I remember correctly, that was his statement, that it will really be hard to secure a cross-chain bridge, and so that's where Cosmos has a really nice feature, which is called IBC, or inter blockchain communications, which really allows you the seamless transfers of assets among Cosmos L1s. So for me, again, I think the logic, no, the parang the technical thinking that went into building Cosmos was really nice. And the tokenomics is really bad. So again, this is not financial advice. No, the value accrual mechanism is not there yet. So the Cosmos ecosystem, of course, has Terra, now Terra 2, or Luna 2, point 0, and then it has Secret. Some of the more popular ones: Osmosis, Secret Network, Juno, and then a few others. No, but the Atom token is actually still mainly used in the Cosmos Hub. So mostly for governance lang, no? Mostly for governance, ano lang siya ngayon, for governance activities. But this year, two features are gonna be added. The first one is what they call inter-chain security. So if you are a small project, you cannot attract a validator set. So yung for those that are not familiar, yung validator set is yun yung mga validators, no. So as you know, Ethereum is shifting towards proof of stake system, wherein you need validators to validate the transactions, simply put. So for example, you're a very small project, you want your own sovereign chain, but you cannot afford to pay, to have your own validator set, so you can rent security from the validators of Cosmos Hub. So again, if you're a staker of Cosmos, you will one of the value accruals for Atom stakers is you will get both Atom and the token that's renting security from the Cosmos Hub. And then the second feature that's coming is what they call interchain accounts. So because of how I'm not a really technical person, but the way I understand it, because of how Cosmos SDK is designed, you would be able, if for example you're in another L1, no? Kunyari na lang Osmosis, you can do, while still on Osmosis, you can do an activity on Secret Network using interchain account. So you can swap on another chain, but still, so parang that's how it works, no? And again, that for me is a long play. It's harder. So I think the ICO of Atom was 2016 or 2017. So ngayon pa lang, no? After what, 5-6 years, ngayon pa lang siya nalilay yung nabibuild yung stack or yung infrastructure. So again, that's why I think if you've heard, is it DDX? they made an announcement. No, they're the most popular
Yeah.
perpetuals exchange on Ethereum.
DYDX.
They're building their own Cosmos chain because again, for me, someone made the case. No, the way Cosmos is designed, it really makes it decentralized because anyone can spun up their own validator, and as long as you get into the active set, so you become a valid validator. And then for again, for projects, they can attract, no, they can attract their own validators, they can build their own validators. But there's like, you're like a nation state. The members of that chain, not only the devs but also the stakers, which are the community members who are staking. You get to really decide the future of the chain. So it's not controlled. Of course, there are centralization points, because some validators do get a lot of tokens. But at some point, I think the model can be easier to decentralize. Actually, Ethereum will also face the challenge, no, na maybe there are some validators who are actually run by the same individuals or organizations. But I think eventually it will be easier for any new validators to come in. So actually, for Cosmos chains, I know of a few Filipino-owned validators, no, who are running their own validator sets for different Cosmos chains. So again, siguro to add, no, I would like to say na Cosmos, what really excites me is because I know you could say it with Ethereum and the other L1s, but parang for me, it's really a decentralized App Store or Google Play na, anyone can just learn Cosmos SDK, Tendermint, and just build. You don't need permission to build. And you don't need to buy Atom. You don't need to buy Atom to build your own Cosmos chain. So for me, of course, that might make the case wrong for buying Atom. But again, I think it's easier for developers, especially with who don't have a lot of resources, to spawn or to build their own sovereign chain. So one of the things that I like about Cosmos is Stargaze Zone. So I'm not sure if you've heard it. So it's an NFT marketplace that's a sovereign chain on its own. So yeah, and so you own, as a staker, you own the entire NFT marketplace. And by I like it because the I stake, stars. The token store is called stars. I get stars from the staking rewards, and I pay that to buy NFTs. So again, it's I like it, and then I also control. I sort of have a voice in how governance is done and how how certain features are added, and how projects are supported. So again, it's highly experimental at this point. But ang feeling ko, 'di ba? Parang, can you imagine? It's like you own the App Store, 'di ba? As opposed
Correct.
to Apple or Google owning it. You own the App Store, and then though it's permissionless, based of course on the community members, you can vote. Based on the amount of tokens you stake, you can vote with your feet, no, whether this particular chain deserves your support or not. And then
Jay,
yeah.
what's the name of the project again? Isa-search ko
Stargate
ngayon.
Zone. Stargaze.
Research
Stargaze
at iPad.
Zone.
Yeah. So the website is stargaze.zone.
Okay, not
Um,
financial advice, guys, but I'm looking it up now.
One of the things I forgot to mention, one of the most exciting things about the staking Atom, not financial advice, is most of the L1s that are launching are airdropping
Airdrop.
mostly
Yeah,
Mhm.
correct.
substantial amount. So they're airdropping almost as the Uniswap, same as the Uniswap original airdrop amount. Uh,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so can you
Pero
imagine? So
the
when I first found Cosmos, there were like, I think, 20, and now there's 50. So I've received like what, 20 airdrops.
oh my
Uh,
god.
My
That's a
God.
lot.
and of course,
Wait,
you
is
can
it too
sell it.
late, Jay?
Sorry.
Is it too late for like
It's
a
getting
newbie
started.
like me
I
to
don't think
get
so. I
into
don't think so.
Atom?
I don't think so. Yeah. Some of the airdrops have been really very good. I mean,
I heard
you.
the notable airdrops, see Juno, that was a big one, I think. And
Yes,
then
Osmosis as
Secret,
well. Osmosis, Juno,
Osmosis, yeah.
Stars. Actually, Stars was if you sold it when it airdropped, it was quite substantial. Of course, it went down because I think everybody was selling when we were entering this bear market. But again, I think those are the things that I like about Cosmos that it allows. I'm not particularly bearish against Ethereum, but I feel like especially with the low fees and the you basically never think about costs in when you're doing anything on Cosmos. And
Yeah.
I like that. Like with Ethereum, I have to analyze. I have to sort of schedule my transactions. With Cosmos, yeah, some of like Stars is actually zero gas fee. So most of the NFT trading and exchanging happens for free at this point while they're trying to gain adoption.
Okay. Jay, stick around later sa backstage, okay? I have more questions about,
Sure,
Me
sure.
also.
airdrops.
But yeah, I guess for the stream, no, last question in the interest of time for our viewers. I just want to know what's your thoughts on, since Cosmos' main point is interoperability, right? And that's not the only layer one trying to address this. You have Polkadot and Avalanche on the top of my head. Polkadot with the parachains, Avalanche with the subnets. So what's the advantage of Cosmos compared to those other chains?
I think again, I'm not a technical I don't know person. But based on my analysis, this is the first metric. There are not a lot of projects building on subnets, and though there are many building on parachains, I think there's not a lot of users currently. But they work. The principle, I think the concept is the same, no, with the Avalanche subnets and also the parachains of Polkadot. But there is something I think on a development side. I think there is something different for Cosmos. Why a lot more developers with actual users are building on it. So one of the I forgot to mention one of the few specific dApps that are sovereign that I like are Akash. So Akash network is like your decentralized cloud computing service. So they're like a decentralized, AWS. And then there's also Sentinel, which is a decentralized VPN. They currently only have 3,000 users, but again, it's decentralized. No, there's a no log policy as a VPN, so the code is open source. It's on GitHub. But what excites me about Sentinel is the token is DVPN. Is it allows any other VPN to build on top of it. So you could if you're good at marketing, you can spawn your own VPN and just build on the code of DVPN, and you have your own VPN. Again, it's very early. I don't think a lot of people are very conscious that you need VPN. But so again, that's why that's what excites me about Cosmos, because I feel like a lot more. There's a lot more builders or developers that are really building for real world use cases. Lastly, I'd like to mention yung Regen network. No, so they're like a carbon credits market on Cosmos, which is their own sovereign chain, Regen. No, so I think the marketplace for carbon credits is about to go live. So again, it's as a non-profit person, no, it's interesting because what they do is they allow the farmers, to submit directly, for carbon credits, and then companies can of course buy this to offset their carbon footprint. So, but it now lives on the blockchain. So again, I know these are also in Ethereum, but I guess partly it's really the cost, for a normal, especially for a third world user, to utilize or to use the network is one of the metrics that I really look at.
Jed, you're on mute.
Yeah, Jay, thank you so much for your insights, no. But we just have a few more questions from our community. And first
Yeah,
one
please.
from one of our regulars, Christian Kaburian. He's asking about tips on how to get started in Cosmos.
Well, I would say, that the best resource is really Twitter. I follow most of course you can search, Atom or Cosmos as a hashtag, and then, just follow the ones that, speak to you. I think that's the best way. I think I find the most alpha in Twitter with, maybe accounts with less than 5,000 followers. The ones that have more are probably shillers. They probably get paid for the post that they put out. But yeah, you could start by going through the Cosmos website. But of course, that's a more formal one. I think CoinGecko and CoinMarket already has the Cosmos ecosystem token, so you can go through that as well. And then yeah, so that you can learn more about the different projects. But top of mind for me, let me enumerate: Osmosis, Secret Network, Juno, Evmos, of course. Evmos just launched. I'm also bullish on them. They're bringing the EVM model to Cosmos. So a lot of like the Ethereum dApps are probably coming through Cosmos to Cosmos through Evmos. There's also Comdex, which is like I think they're still about to launch. So they're like a synthetic commodities exchange, which is its own layer one. So I think you can trade, synthetic gold, silver, much like I think similar to Mirror, but I think they're more legally. I think yeah, they're more. They're not. Yeah, I think they went through the motions of being approved on the legal side. And then, of course, as I mentioned, there's Stargaze, which is an NFT marketplace, which is its own chain, Akash network, which is like your decentralized cloud system, and then Sentinel, your decentralized VPN, and Regen, your carbon credits exchange market. Of course, those are just like the 10 out of the 50 that have launched. There are probably more that are building right now. Thank you, Christian, for the question.
Okay, so here's a question from Chris Torres. Do you have any NFT collections and have any thoughts about it, Paul? Searching.
Yeah, so I have a lot of worthless NFTs from Terra. But of course, some of them are, will probably launch in Terra 2.0. But I think some of them are still worth some because they're moving to Solana, Polygon, and of course, some are moving to Stargaze zone as well in the Cosmos. So I pretty much very big on Stargaze Zone. Again, as I mentioned, I got an airdrop of the ecosystem of the chain token, and then I staked it, and so on a daily level, I get a certain amount of stars, which is their token. So I just use that to buy. It's basically like free money. So I use that to buy really good projects. So some of the good projects on Stargaze Zone that I like, as I mentioned earlier, so there are NFT projects that are building their own validator. So if you own their NFT, you get a share of the profits of their validator. Some of the other projects are, of course, building a play to earn game or a metaverse play. But of course, the games are not out yet. So you just get the NFT for now. And then for other NFTs, I'm also big on Solana. I think that's the second after Stargaze. No, Solana has thriving. I think next to Ethereum, it probably has the next biggest NFT ecosystem. I'd like to point out. I'm not financial advice. I like. They used to be on Terra as well. They're called Jinko. Jinkou. What they do is, again, Pat, no, I like the real world use case here. Jinko is an NFT, so they use that to raise funds. They're bringing terminals to merchants across Southeast Asia. So I think they're now present in 10 countries. So they're like they're like your credit card arm. They put in the terminals, and you can pay USDT and USDC. I think Solana and Ethereum networks, USDT and USDC, you can pay. So, if you have a wallet, you just scan the QR code and you get to pay for your hotel or for your coffee. again, the merchant has to be onboarded, no, through their JPay. So if you own the NFT, you get a share again of the profit. So those are the sort of the NFTs that I'm really bullish on, no. So kung hindi play to earn yung ano niya, yung next step or roadmap, it's really on that na it has real utility in the real world. I think lastly, I'd like to mention no, si Levana, the Levana Dragons
Yeah.
from Terra. I think they're moving to Juno. But yeah, they're one of the most exciting projects for me in terms of the grit of the team. So they yeah that they you just search about it. It might take us another episode to talk about them, but basically they're building a perpetual swaps. They're building a perpetual swaps exchange. But of course, I think they're doing some tweaking now. But what I like about them is that they have this whole model of NFTs, DeFi, and identity management. Along with their project, which is really an experiment, a good experiment in the space.
Jay, is Levana a Filipino team, if I may ask?
No, I think it's global. I think yeah,
Okay, I
they're
see.
quite diverse.
All right.
I think
Okay,
it
so
means fire. Yeah, I think Levana means fire.
nice. Before we close out the episode, and before I forget, no, I want to ask about Yellow Boat. So, na-mention you at the very beginning of the episode, you wanted to help people, um, for all of these students to cross, tama ba yan? Magko-cross ng rivers or I don't know, to get to their schools. I'm super curious about how you combine blockchain technology with these charitable initiatives and also PDAX Donate. No? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So again, thank you. I'd like to thank the PDAX team again, no, for helping us facilitate it. So again, as you know, I'm bullish on real world, use cases or utility. So I think that was around early this year, no. So Angel Protocol, which was building on endowment funds, no, using Anchor. But right now, of course, they're trying to choose a different yield platform, no, or protocol. But what they do is they raise donations and then they put it in a yield that's stable, and then the yield goes to the principal serves as like the endowment fund, and the charity that is onboarded on their platform gets the yield. You can withdraw the yield. And so last January, the community voted, and they gave Yellow Boat funding, no, grant for Typhoon Odette affected areas. So currently we're rebuilding boats, classrooms, and we also provided immediate relief to communities in Cebu, Siargao, Palawan, and Bohol. So again, that's why I really like these kinds of use cases we're in. The online or digital or crypto touches the living, the offline component, and I think those are really the projects that can succeed. So even with Angel, I think so I'm actually wearing the logo right now, no. I'm not sure if you can see it there. So it's like a
Nice.
wings of an angel. So they're actually surviving. I think there are philanthropies and organizations that is rebuilding the endowment fund so that they can still onboard more charities, and of course make the charities who lost some in the USD whole. But I think we'll see more of that. Wherein this technology again enables people to make a difference in the world.
So Jay, if I wanted to donate to the Yellow Boat, how do I go about it? Do I create a PDAX account? PDAX Jed, I think you're handling the PDAX Donate. Maybe you
Mhm.
could shed some light.
So yeah, if you guys want to support Yellow Boat of Hope, no, just access their website donate.pidax.ph/ Yellow Boat of Hope, and you can see their donation page, and you can choose any of the cryptocurrencies as a means of donation.
Nice. Do the people who donate need to create a PDAX account or um not necessary?
Sorry, I got choppy.
Yeah. Do the people who want to donate, do they need to create a PDAX account?
Nope.
Or
You can donate
yeah.
from any exchange or any wallet.
Nice. All right. I love it. Jay, thanks so much for your time. We learned so much, no? So sobrang I think you have such an encyclopedic knowledge of
Mhm.
the whole industry, no? From real world to Cosmos to Terra to Ethereum to NFTs to Metaverse. 1 hour is not really enough, honestly. I think
Agree.
we should book you for a second round, no? And we can talk
Agree.
more about my favorite topics naman, NFTs,
Yes.
metaverse, obviously, metaverse, head of metaverse. And of course, more the charitable initiatives. But sad to say, no, let's close out the episode and leave some for the rest. Jay, how do the people who are listening here get in touch with you? And if there are any shout outs that you want to make?
Yeah, thank you, Pat and John, of course, and the PDAX team for inviting me. It's been a pleasure sharing, insights with you. Of course, again, this is not financial advice, but if you want to help the communities we're helping, you can go to yellowboat.org, our website. We're in the process of integrating as well the donation to PDAX no portal. And of course, you can find out more about the work we're doing there. And as for me, you can find me on Twitter. So just search for my name. I have a blue check mark. So yeah, you can easily find me.
Nice. All right. I think your Twitter handle is J Jaboneta. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Perfect.
that's
All
correct.
right, Jay. Thanks so much for your time. It's been a pleasure learning more about crypto from you. No. Thanks so much, and maybe we'll invite you again for another episode.
Okay,
Definitely.
thank you. Have a
Thanks
good
so
night,
much,
Thank you,
Jay.
everyone.
Jay.
Keep in touch. All right, Jed. What are your thoughts, man? Wild episode, grabe. I wanted to extend more, to be honest.
Me also. Bitin yung
Nabitin ako.
extended time natin, to be honest. And I felt like I really learned a lot. And the way how Jay spoke, it felt like he has been in the industry for several cycles. But I was very surprised to hear that he only got in mga 2020. But the way he spoke, it's like what you said earlier, it's an encyclopedia of knowledge. I feel
Yeah,
like
grabe.
it's a
And his
great episode.
diligence din. I really respect investors like that eh. So, I'm more in tune, diba? I think he hit it right spot on when he said that your first question should be, are you a trader or an investor, diba? So,
That's right, yeah.
personally, I'm more attuned to the investing side. So, value investing, doing your research. So, I really respect people who have the diligence, no, to go through 2,000 tokens and just read through everyone, di ba? So, alam mo na pinag-aralan talaga, di ba? Hindi
Yeah.
nanggaling from nowhere. Anyway, Jed, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. And really excited for next week's episode naman. I think we're gonna have a very special guest.
Who's
Everyone
our
will find out
guest?
more about it.
Alpha Leak. Alpha Leak.
um, okay, so there's one that is from the play to earn segment. I think that's 2 weeks from now. So that one sobrang exciting yan, especially for the people who are listening here from the YGG group, no? And then for next week, we have someone from the venture capital side naman. So trying to hit
Mm,
all industries, diba? So first we had the Sevi, who's the artist, NFT artist. And then we had Anito Legends, Play to Earn. Si Jay, who's a very, like, siguro I find him more well-rounded. And then
yep.
now, medyo dito tayo sa VC side. And then the week after that, we're gonna go hit a very well-known guild in the Axie community. But yeah,
Very
super
exciting.
excited, man.
Yeah, same.
Let's hit that really good for next week. Thank you everyone for listening to Fresh Money.
Thank you, everyone. See you all next week.
Next week. Bye. Cheers.